Here's another example where knowledge is imparted in the Bible with the sole purpose of instigating fear, and this continues to this day. The Egyptian Pharaoh claimed that he didn't know or recognize the God Yahweh, and he gave the Israelites a hard time. Then this God apparently brought down 10 plagues on Egypt, culminating with the death of all firstborn sons. Is this a myth? My view is that if things happened even before writing was invented, and the events were relived orally over hundreds and even thousands of years, and in different cultures, in different parts of the world, in different languages, then there must be some truth behind it. Why would a person who can't read or write have the imagination to think up such myths? I watched a fascinating video, which was part of a series called Secrets of the Bible, where different investigators arrived at the same hypothesis relating to what caused the plagues that are described in Exodus. They claimed that there was a volcanic eruption off the coast of Egypt. This eruption caused lava and other particles to travel by wind and enter the rivers in Egypt, with the result that the water was poisoned and turned blood red. This incident then unleashed a chain effect of plagues, which is provable and logical based on historic information, culminating in a situation where the population was running out of food. The solution was to bring food out of storage, and the firstborn sons were fed first. The food was moldy and had turned poisonous because of the storage conditions, and those who ate the food died. Sounds logical to me. However, present these arguments to a Christian and you hit the brick wall of superstitious fear of a loving God who doesn't appreciate questions. And if you want a classic example of this irrational fear overshadowing everything that religion offers, look at the panic response to this so-called pandemic that was thrust upon the world in 2020. There are still no science or figures to justify a pandemic. And because of fear and ignorance, the world has changed irrevocably. I'm not saying for a moment that the religion or faith is all about getting solid facts and providing proof. There is the adage, for those who don't believe, no proof is enough. For those who believe, no proof is required. I'm somewhere in the middle. I've had experiences with the unseen dimension that have left me with no option other than to believe and no doubts. I've had experiences with this tangible dimension which have left me with not just doubts but disillusionment. Probably the biggest eye-opener for me was when I discovered the truth about Jesus. Remember, he's the one who was born on 25th of December after he was conceived by a virgin with no daddy. He had all sorts of experiences on different continents and eventually died on a cross, flanked by 2 criminals who died in the same manner. Then 3 days later, he miraculously resurrected himself from the dead. Is that not reincarnation, or was he a ghost? And he walked away. Imagine my surprise when I discovered that the exact same experience Jesus had was long before Jesus was born, shared by Krishna of Hindustan, Zulis and Osiris of Egypt, Zohar of the Bonzes, Jao of Nepal, Krite of Chaldea, Indra of Tibet, the divine teacher of Plato, Adonis of Greece, and the list goes on, as you can see. What on earth is this about? You and David Icke tell me. David Icke has done some fascinating research which you need to discover for yourself. All his books are worth reading. And he doesn't stop there. There's another version that claims Jesus actually did exist, despite the huge coincidences listed above. And he was born of a virgin. Or was she not a virgin, but a woman who belonged to a cult called the Virgins? Apparently, in his late teen and early adult years, he travelled to Asia and even to Glastonbury in the south of England, where he mastered his craft as a healer. He then returned to Jerusalem, where he was crucified. But then the story takes an interesting twist. He didn't die on the cross. He didn't resurrect himself after 3 days. Instead, he was whisked away by Mary Magdalene, who was even more powerful and versed in the esoteric than Jesus was, and she nursed him to recovery. They then allegedly got married and had 3 children and got divorced. Apparently, the last sighting of him was when he was in his early 70s.